I'll discuss it. I'd want to know why, and I'd want to know was there any commitment involved. Like, I know, look, people live in open relationships, other people don't, but it's just something that you have to discuss with your partner.
Hard to say. Depends if I've slept with anyone else too. Depends if I wanted to bail out on the relationship. It's a lifelong partner, hard to say. You could maybe work your way through it. It depends if it was a one-off or if it was an ongoing thing. Yeah, depends what the exact circumstances were.
How about you,
Probably be
Joseph?
angry initially.
No, I would not go with the person, no.
That'd be it?
Yeah,
over?
No, not the person at all, like, yeah.
It's finished.
Yeah. I have the person said, let's go. If they have a person in there, yeah.
That's their game over.
Yeah, game over, yeah.
Who knows? We've been married, how many years is it? 53, 54, something like that.
I mean, it doesn't seem to be
54 years. Been together for longer than that. I think, amazingly enough, that issue hasn't come up. And I suppose now, if it came up that I found out that Ross had slept with somebody, I would be upset about it, but it wouldn't make anything different to what it is now. And I can certainly honestly say I've never slept with anybody except him. All my life. So very unusual.
You'd be quite forgiving.
I would hope so. Yes.
I think it'd be more likely to be amazed.
Yes. So.
It just isn't a relevant dimension of life anymore. I mean, you can. I don't know what you'd say, but you could admire somebody or think they look nice today or whatever you like. But it's just not a thing that somehow you cemented into a something,
I think when we grew up, that sort of sexual interaction for momentary pleasure was not part of the deal. It was just a different time, really. But, yeah.
Once again, don't know, never really thought about it. It's never really happened, so you don't know until it happens. There may be circumstances.
So there's a possibility of forgiveness, or they'll just be out?
There's always that. As I said, circumstances.
I'm human. You're going to react, and I think obviously you're going to be hurting. You're probably going to see things that you've probably never seen before within yourself as a person. But in the long run, depending on who it is, from my experiences, I've never held bitterness towards anyone in my life. And sometimes you just got to have an understanding of the relationship or how that person is, of their insecurities and what you couldn't give and the communication. It really depends on the situation.
So you might forgive them, depending on...
To be honest, in my history of certain things, it's something that I probably won't want to associate with anymore, but once you can let go, you can move on. It's not about them, it's more about you as a person, and I think that really pushes you to be a more happier person. And being genuine about it, not putting a mask on and pretending. That's just me.
That's a brilliant answer. You're very wise.
Shoot them.
It's a betrayal of trust.
Well, it really depends on the nature of your relationship and what you have cultivated it to be, I guess. I think there's value in monogamy, but I also question whether it's, is it...
Very patriarchal, possessive.
Oh, look, I would say we all want to be loved for who we are. And so when we're entering into a relationship, it's a soul contract, and the contract should state that as long as I love you and as long as you love me, and we have open communication and we have respect for one another and we listen to one another, you know, and then when you say things that may arouse my ego or may upset me, I respect you enough to stand back and process those feelings and actually consider if there's any resonance of truth in what you're saying, because I may have to become aware of something that I wasn't aware of before, and I love you enough to generate that awareness. Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to infidelity, it's really how you want to take it. I mean, is this person, you know, going behind your back and, you know, kind of one-upping you kind of thing, and, you know, it's a power play thing, like, you know, I've got my cake and I can eat it too, because it's kind of like, well, if that is the rules of engagement, then both parties should be playing by the same rules. I think naturally, as human beings, we're a little bit possessive in nature. Do you know what I mean? So when you love someone, you know, you don't really want to share them in that kind of way. And you want the attention, the loving attention to be on you, not somebody else. And, you know, you don't want to feel like they're upgrading or, you know, you don't want to feel disposable. No human being should feel disposable, you understand? Where, you know, we should be loved and respected. But I think as well, we have to be okay being alone. Because maybe a relationship's only meant to be in your life for a certain period, you know, and I think as long as we're helping each other to grow and we're nurturing each other's creative development and we're inspiring one another, then, you know, you may be the weakest link and be left behind just ipso facto that the other person may meet someone that's going to expand them in a whole other way, and you need to be, I guess, spiritual enough and to love them enough to go, I love and respect you and I appreciate all the moments that we shared, which I will remember forever, and how much of a positive impact that you had in my life, and I won't hold any resentment towards you or any grudges toward you, because that is poisonous for me. And I know that if I let you go, that's the most loving thing that I can do, and then I can be open to another beautiful relationship. I mean, we don't own people. And I think marriage is, you know, particularly, it's like a business transaction. Like you hear men going, oh, gold diggers and this and that. And it's kind of like, well, there are male gold diggers as well out there. And this is people getting into relationships with the complete wrong intentions. And they're like thinking about swindling people, or what can I get from that person? And a relationship goes beyond what you can get from somebody, like materially speaking. A relationship is something that invigorates you and brings you to life and makes you feel, you know, deeply connected to everything, and it gives your life meaning. If we want to solve the existential crisis of, you know, the meaning of life, then just, you know, connect with people and focus on developing your friendships and your relationships, and don't have expectations of people, because, you know, the only person you should have expectations of is yourself. You can't expect anyone, you know. And no one wants to feel like they're also caught in a, you know, like they're stuck in a situation, or I'm doing this because I'm supposed to. It's like, well, that reasoning is not really good enough, you know what I mean? Because you're not even clear as to why you want that thing.
I want to sort out what the problem was that caused that in the first place.
So you wouldn't just chuck them out?
No way in the world. Let them go. Let them go. Plenty of fish in the sea. Yeah, look, you can't make someone love you. And that's their choice, and you can't take that personally. Because I've had that happen to me, and 20 years later they come back to say sorry, or it was whatever. You know, you just got to let people, you can't own anyone. So, and I'm a really happy, simple person, but
Yeah, well that's their choice. And you just can't control other people. When you let go of that idea, like I think people get, that's their thing, and you just gotta let it go.
It depends who I was competing with, I guess. Like, if they were awesome. How long have I been with the person? Does that come into it? It'd be up for debate. Like, I'm not just gonna completely cut someone off because of something like that. Like, shit happens,
Well, as toxic as it is to say, it changes the dynamic if you forgive something serious like that and you have to leave. Which, you know, it sucks to say that, but like it sets a bad precedent.
Yeah.